who was involved with the Jeff Cameron Show, Warchant Invitational. Man, what a raging success. I want to thank you, Tom, publicly. I know I've said it at the golf course, but it's worth noting your hard work is one of the many reasons that this worked out so well. And we were able to do such a good job at this tournament in terms of raising money for the charity. That's what it's about. So and every other aspect too, but the most important element went off and without a hitch, and everybody had a blast and just heard nothing but great things from our participants and our sponsors and from the charity themselves, the Second Harvest. So thank you, good sir. Thanks for your hard work. Thanks to Alicia. Thanks to the fine folks here at Warchant and 93.3. And thanks to all of our sponsors who contributed greatly to the success of this tournament as well. So I wanted to get all the thank yous out there. I wanted to make sure I led with that because I'm forever grateful. We had a blast. And you know what? Thanks to Capital City Country Club for hosting it as well. That was we could not have had a better set of circumstances in terms of the weather. Obviously, it was sold out for weeks on end, but the turnout, the contributions, the participation, people gobbled up their mulligans and participated in all the different things we had on site in order to raise more money for the charity, and that's awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, as I said on Friday, from the bottom of my heart, the heart of the community here is really strong. It has been. I mean, we see it every Christmas time with the bowling tournament, but it's just something we haven't been able to do in some time. The golf tournament to run one, and Alicia was a rock star running ops the whole day. But to all the people who participated as sponsors and as players, some both, thank you. Thank you. You made a huge difference on Friday, and we can't thank you enough.
Yeah, no, it's huge. All right, so let's get to the big story. Looks like Mims, the 5-star tackle from Georgia, who was reported by Ira Schoffel of Warchant.com to be headed Tallahassee's way to Florida State, is now taking his name out of the portal, and it looks like will remain at Georgia. So he's not on his way anywhere. He's staying where he was and not coming to Florida State. That's the way it looks as of right now. I think that's official, right? His name is no longer in the portal, so it would appear that it's moving in that direction. Ira is going to be joining us at 2:30. I reached out to him, and I wanted to make sure he had a chance to speak since he authored the story, and we ran with it, obviously, and he'll have an opportunity to talk about it at 2:30, and I'll ask him questions about where we're at and how we arrived at this place. Now, I have a general observation with this. And that is that, okay, so he never made the visit down to Miami, he never got over to Florida. He came here. So let's go timeline of events. He puts his name in the transfer portal. All right, that's a fact. We know that happened. From the time his name goes into the portal, obviously the thought, given Florida State's circumstances on the offensive line, there's a kid you got to bring in. Hopefully you can get him. Not only does Florida State reach out, we established, of course, in the world of recruiting that he and Coach Atkins have a great relationship. We knew that from the first go-around when he was coming out of high school as a 5-star recruit. And he was close to signing with Florida State then. Obviously, Florida State didn't have enough going on the field in terms of successes, and that coaching staff obviously hadn't established themselves yet. So he signs with Georgia, which, if you're a 5-star kid, who can blame anybody right now signing with Georgia? They win the national championship. He's unhappy for whatever reason, that reason being that it looks like he's not going to start for them, wants time at tackle and not guard, where he's maybe projected to play if he does play at Georgia. So Florida State seems the logical fit. Looks like he's going to come here. One of the reasons that we think that, obviously, is that he was here. He arrived here, video of him being here, meeting with the coaches, hanging out. So you put your name in the portal, then you come to Tallahassee. You don't go to other schools, you come to Tallahassee. So at that point, everything checks out. Everything checks out. That dissatisfied at Georgia, hence transfer portal entry. Rumored to be interested in Florida State. Rumored confirmed when he arrives in Tallahassee. He's not here for the hell of it. So he's here speaking with the coaches. Report comes out from our own Ira Schoffel on Warchant.com that he is signing. I think that may be a mistake in verbiage. I think that's the wrong choice of words because this is not a high school signing. In high school, you sign with a team, you sign a letter of intent, right? I think you would probably be wise to use, in my opinion, intends to enroll would probably be a better choice of phrase, if you would, because if he doesn't come, and it doesn't look like he is, despite every indicator that he was, and despite Ira's sources telling him that, in fact, he intends to come to Florida State. If he doesn't, you're protected if you say intends to enroll, as opposed to signs. And as it is now, I think that was a mistake. And I think Ira will come on the air and tell us what he thinks about that. I know that Ira has been a trustworthy and outstanding reporter for years and years and years. I don't think he'll hide from it. He does have to obviously address it. So he'll join us at 2:30 to address the situation. My observation from afar is that whatever occurred, and certainly there was, we now know the reports of a tragic incident in which his old teammate and friend has passed away in a single car accident, as I understand it. That's a horrible, horrible thing to read in a horrible set of circumstances. But I think it may have affected the direction that this was going. I don't know that. That's my opinion. Certainly, I think I could connect the dots there. And he went home to attend to that situation, as one would. And now it looks like maybe that's one of, if not the reason that this changed directions. But I'll have to ask Ira that. I don't know what he can share and what he can't share.
Yeah, what I'd say from our perspective last week is if Ira is satisfied through the principles that he has that are pretty strict because he adheres to the journalistic code about as well, if not better than anybody in this region, let alone the Tallahassee area.
Sure, yeah, no, that's been established for a long time.
If his process is satisfied, then we move forward because that's what he's going to take to the public and report, and we advance the discussion from there. And we talk about what is Mims going to be on this offensive line.
Yeah.
Because I'll do it again next time. If he has a report that satisfies his parameters and his rules, and he's going to report it to the public that another kid's coming or whatever it is, whatever the story is, then we move forward with that conversation.
But I want to address something here. I want to address something here that I think is important. So on Thursday too, when we talked about this, and I've talked about this quite a bit, to varying degrees, whether that's you or me or Florida State fans, alumni, boosters, supporters of any kind. I said after the Travis Hunter thing that we would never again trust that a player is going to do as they say, okay? I'm just never, me personally, after we saw that go down, I addressed this and said, and I did it on signing day, if you recall. You will not cannot convince, and I understand this, by the way, Florida State fans, especially if that thing is something that could be the result of the commitment or the intention, whatever you want to call it these days. If it's a seismic shift in good fortune for Florida State, as in they're finally getting the caliber of player that we were accustomed to having for years, nobody's ever going to trust that again. Because what happened on signing day signaled a change in the world of recruiting forever. I believe that is applicable to all situations involving players everywhere now. I don't know that you're ever going, short of seeing that player having enrolled and be here, I don't know that anybody anywhere is ever going to be able to report again, and this could be a lesson learned, that a player has committed or has, I don't think you can. Because we now know things change.
Well, I think that, we know a lot of people who have done this for a long time. Not just covering the team, but recruiting. And the world used to be
I hate
shaky enough
that I don't do it.
There was a different network I worked for a little time ago, and I was there for junior days, and my eyes were open. I was thinking, oh, my God. In a way, that's kind of cleaned up now with the transparency of NIL versus wink, wink, nod, nod when there were handlers coming to a Jimbo Fisher junior day or whoever. It didn't have to be Tallahassee, but that was the job that I saw.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere that I took in on the IM fields where I'm going, oh, man, this is some shaky stuff. But you had to have sources from, concrete places, 3 concrete places. The outgoing coaching staff, meaning the high school that the kid was coming from.
Right.
The family or close circle. Sometimes it's an uncle. Sometimes it's mom. Sometimes it's whoever. Family is the second group of sources. Sometimes it's the player himself. And then the coaching staff of the school that you think that they're going to go to, right? So you've got sources that are from high school, the family, and Florida State. Now you have a 4th level of sourcing that's important when you cover this particular topic. And that is NIL groups.
Yeah, but here's the problem, and I agree
and
with
you've got to make sense of all of it. But the point is, you've got to make sense of all of it.
Yeah, no, and I think, by the way, there was a mistake made here without question. And I mean, I don't want to put words in Ira's mouth. I'm going to let him talk for himself at 2:30. But I do think, yes, you're right. There's another group now that you have to that you use as a source. But none of this is at a place now where you're ever going to feel secure until the kid is on campus, until he's here and enrolled in school
and class.
In
yes, in class.
Like you're never going.
Yeah, not even on the ground.
You're never going to. You're never going to. You know, I will say this. I think had that young man gone and I'm just giving you my thoughts from a distance here. As this report came out, we were all excited, rightfully so. Again, I'll stand by Ira. His reporting, the job itself, I never have a question about. So when he reported it, produced the story, we began to discuss moving forward as if that was going to happen. And I don't regret that. But I said then, and I'll say here again, Florida State in particular, we have had a rough go for some time now, whether it's a kid like Travis Hunter, this situation, any number of others. I mean, can I use Winston Wright, for example? I mean, goodness gracious, really? The one plug-and-play receiver that you got in the portal that had proven it at the Power 5 level gets hurt in a car accident? That's just, I mean, I'm glad he's okay. Thank goodness he's okay. It matters a lot more than football, but just, obviously we're talking about football here. I mean, really? It's been a run for the ages.
Well,
so you talk about on the edge at all times and angry. That's all of us.
And that's where I get, we're in such a weird spot too, just because we are media types, but we're also Nole grads and we're not afraid of talking about it that way. It's like,
oh yeah, about Florida State.
There's well, in terms of like journalism, like if you were to cover the team and your job was a beat reporter specifically, you can't be wearing, I can't be wearing this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We don't do that. Yeah.
Right. So as a fan, I can also understand where, you have a wacky trailblazing situation with Hunter on signing day in December. And then you've got a really wacky and tragic situation, at least partially.
Well, it looks like it, yeah.
By extension with this particular Mims development. And they're both like, bat bleep, like they're just crazy. And it's bizarre.
But the bottom line is
as a fan, you're like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, but because the bottom line is the player didn't come.
And I get that.
The bottom line is the player did not come.
And I get that from the fans. Like, I understand you. If you're like, I don't care. I don't care how crazy or unforeseen it could be. I don't care.
Sure.
I hear that. Like, I don't share that necessarily because I know some of the stuff behind the scenes, but I hear the frustration because does it have to be us that weird stuff, unprecedented stuff happens to?
Well, I don't think it will
so
be. I don't think it'll be unprecedented for long. I think that it's a crazy time in terms of navigating NIL and an added group of sources that can come into the picture now. I mean, I those rules that we're trying to adhere to or follow, that's changing at all times. So it's almost like you're just better off not. You're just better off till you see the kid walk out onto the field that first day.
On the field.
Yeah, on the field. Like you see him walk
like in
out.
a game.
Yeah.
Not a practice.
Not even like, let's just like harken back to the Travis Hunter deal. Like, let's say he signs and he holds up the hat and we're all celebrating. I'm not going to feel comfortable with that. but he did. He signed it. Jeff, he's holding up the jersey. I don't believe it. I'm not going to feel good about this. I need to see him walk his ass out there. Show me that he's in whatever class.
Yeah, National Signing Day coverage next year brought to you by ABC. Your coverage will be, I'm going into the ABC.
No, I'm telling you.
That's where I'm going. I'm going in. That's great. I hear what you're saying. I hear that the fax is here. I don't care. I'm going in. I'm just getting a refill. You let me know when it gets to next fall.
So I think, well, what's weird here too is, and this is unavoidable. And I get this too. So that story comes out, Ira's story comes out, that Mims is coming to Florida State. Well, in this hypothetical, whether let's say I reported that. Let's say I did it before Ira. Say I beat him to it, even though we work for Warchant and I work for 93.3 too and whatever. But let's just say I did that. Let's say I came on the air and went, all right, this is the deal. Okay. If it doesn't happen for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the sourcing. It doesn't matter how good I feel about it. Doesn't matter. If it doesn't happen, you're going to have egg on your face. You're going to be made to look bad without question. People will speculate, understandably, as to the reason the report was initiated to begin with. And more often than not, because I do this anytime that I see a report and then something other than the facts of that report play out. So it could be about a person, could be about a policy, it could be anything, right? I immediately do assume, and I think a lot of our readers and a lot of our listeners right now or viewers are automatically assuming this. And I get it. I assume that the mistake was that somebody was rushing because they wanted to beat somebody else. I don't believe that happened here. I don't believe that there was any inherent value in beating somebody to this. It was the overwhelming evidence and sourcing that led him to write that story.
Yeah, at that point, you're obligated.
Yes. Okay. It wasn't like, oh, Warchant doesn't have to beat anybody. They don't. So I don't think it's that. But that's not to say mistakes weren't made. And that's not to say that this isn't maddening.
So I'll tell you, the first time I learned that lesson, it was, I forget the class, but it's about 10, 12 years ago. And I was producing an interview that you were doing with Coach Fisher. And this was, I forget why, but it wasn't during the season. It was like must have been January. It was just before National Signing Day. And I was producing the interview, and you guys had chatter beforehand, and then you talked on the record.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember Tony Stewart, the linebacker?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe somebody on that call, not you, said he's coming here. And I remember working at a different network at the time, and whatever, recruiting predictions from a dude who does, string work.
Right,
it's not
right.
the be all end all. But I remember saying, I feel as confident as I possibly could that the kid is going to come to Tallahassee. And then the next day, it looks like, they're at a funeral, everybody involved in that Tony Stewart ceremony as he's announcing Clemson. And Jimbo motioned something in the room because we got to go into the war room.
Yes.
He was not pleased, but he was hinting that maybe something had happened, and that changed Tony Stewart's mind.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I learned, oh, man. So the head coach of the university can be certain.
Oh, I think coaches often are.
And so much so he's willing to share it to a media type.
Yes.
Not a recruitnik.
Yeah.
Like a media type.
Yeah.
Because you have ifollowthekitties.com. That's all you got.
Yeah.
And yet that could still be dead wrong on signing day.
I never liked the world. I don't like that
was the chill in my spine. And that was whatever that was, 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
I want to, yeah. And I know why you told that story, but let me just say that I don't think anything nefarious happening here whatsoever. I think that ultimately, obviously, the results are the results. He got it wrong. Ira got it wrong. Okay. So now why he reported it the way he did, I trust that process. I believe in him as a journalist. I think he trusted that what he had was something he was obligated to go forward with. Fine. I believe that happened. I believe that fans worried that he was too quick to do it, and that it could screw up the, for lack of a better term, recruitment of Mims. I don't think it did. I think it had nothing to do with nothing. My personal opinion is I don't think it had anything to do with that. I know. This is what we do know. He entered the transfer portal for a reason, and he visited Tallahassee for a reason. I don't believe that reason was to play Florida State to get something out of Georgia. No, I think a tragic set of circumstances happened and unfortunately changed the direction of his thought process. And there's no way to know 100% for certain how much percentage of this or this really, as it relates to his decision is quantifiable. Like, hey, this is this much, or it's all this or that. I don't know that. I don't know him. And I doubt we're going to have that conversation with him. So I don't know. But all of that can be simultaneously true. And I also know that all adds up to be a bad look for Warchant, and it's a bad result for Florida State. It's unfortunate. I mean, it's ugly. And I think that at the end of the day, back to your point about us being Noles, it's another kid. It's another guy that, and again, if in fact the reasons are that involve a personal tragedy that matter much more than football, then I'm not trying to be callous. I'm not trying to be crass. That's a very big deal, and I get all that. As it relates to football, though, it is another guy that we got our hopes up for, and it didn't happen. I'm never going down that road again.
That's what they all say.
The kid could call me personally and say, I'm coming. Jeff, I'm outside your front door. I want you to drive me over to the university. I want you to walk me in. I want to take a picture with you as I sign the documents. I want to put on the uniform and run out there and begin practicing tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm that kind of locked in. Now, besides me asking him why he's at my front door and how did he find my address, I would say, I don't know. This sounds a little bit like catfish. I'm not buying it. I won't believe ever again. And I think that's a lot of the people out there right now. They won't. They won't for the foreseeable future until fortunes change. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Having AC issues? Get it fixed now before that summertime heat has you singing the sweaty blues. E&B Heating and Air new customer diagnostic special for just $49.95. We sell the best and fix the rest. Call E&B Heating and Air today at 850-848-0187.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Jerry's Famous Cigar Shop is a special place. It's Tallahassee's only traditional gentleman's cigar lounge with a massive collection of hard-to-find boutique cigar brands, a staff with over 100 years of combined cigar knowledge and experience, the best prices in town with full box discounts, a great selection of beer and wine, indoor and outdoor seating, private lockers, and best of all, Jerry's is a local family-owned business. Visit us on Shearer Road or the new lounge on Cary Forest Parkway, the only cigar lounge for the true gentleman.
Here we go. Your next chance to grow your green this spring and win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m.
I just won $1,000.
Listen for the keyword at the top of the hour. Then enter that keyword online at realtalk93.com.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
Actually, all of us that have the privilege to work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control are Paul.
We're proud to call ourselves Paul because we work for a company that puts our customers first. We love what we do, and we love the principles our company demands.
Give our customers more than they expect and do everything within our power to keep them safe and comfortable.
We make a difference every day and know we protect the health of our thousands of North Florida customers that we are honored to call our friends.
And we're looking to bring a few more Pauls to our growing family. We have several openings now or in the very near future. Positions include termite, lawn, and general pest techs, route managers, inside sales, and customer service rep. Visit callpauls.com to see what's available and to find out how to apply. Every Pauls receives competitive pay with outstanding benefits, including health insurance, 401k, paid leave time, and holidays.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
And you could be Paul, too, for the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We've been getting them all in North Florida for over 50 years.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
We'll need a tackle. We got to get back in that transfer portal and start combing the mines here to find a kid.
Are you prepared to say something?
No,
okay.
I may need to do some of the more successful things in the past that I've done, which is, speak it into being. I didn't do that with this, and maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should take the blame. I need to reach out to the football gods, speak it into the ether, and make sure that this happens. I mean, that kid doesn't appear to be coming, but there are other kids. Let's find them. Let's round them up. Let's go.
If it is to be believed, blow by blow, that, all indications were that he was coming to Tallahassee, which I do. Again, you're going to run that article and that's the byline. That's the name on the byline, Ira. Then I'm going to buy that. Well, then that would mean to me, indirectly speaking, of course, that a group like Rising Spear is prepared to aggressively pursue someone who wants to come here and could make an immediate impact. So that's a good thing.
Okay, so this is the other side of that. If there is any sort of silver lining, which today for most people there is not. It does appear, judging by what took place there, this did not end up being NIL oriented. Most of the time, we have feared that we're behind the eight ball, that we lack the ability to put into place the wheels of motion in order to bring in players based around the new recruiting landscape in the world of college football, both for recruits in general coming out of high school and potential transfer portal players. If there's one thing to feel better about, it's that I do think we have our ducks in a row in that realm. I do believe that we are in a position to be able to act rather quickly when opportunities present themselves. Now, you have to be very careful about how this is worded. Again, it may be the wild, wild west, but in theory, the NCAA could rise up and decide in a moment that they have a backbone and that they're going to enforce some of these rules in the wild, wild west, if you will, play the role of sheriff. I doubt it, but I'm guessing that universities and coaches and the like would like to be the test case, and they would prefer that we continue to couch things or operate in such a way where we do not open ourselves up to the potential for real problems. I find it amazing, though, that I can say that all the while knowing Miami was furious that he didn't bother to take a visit down there, and their most public supporter went online to tell everybody how upset he was that they didn't get to make their offer. So we're kind of kidding ourselves if we think that this isn't happening everywhere, which it is. But how you talk about it, how you word it, how you phrase it in particular is important, because there are rules that you can't have inducements, even though you better have inducements.
Oh,
can't have them, but you better have them.
That's right.
You better have them in order, because if you're thinking you're going to get somebody, you can't eliminate those possibilities by not having that in order, presented, ready to roll.
Well, that's like if you're going home and it's Thanksgiving and you've got a few job offers on the table.
Yeah.
Right. And you're still in college. You're coming out of college, but you got a few job offers. Your peer, maybe, you've got a brother or a sister who's a year or two apart from you, says, "Oh, how much do they offer?" And you could say, "All right, well, here's what company A, B, and C offered." The person who's been through it, not your peer, like your dad or your aunt, they're like, "Well, what's the benefits package?" They know the right question, because it's about the total benefit package beyond just the salary.
Yes.
And that's where I agree with you. We need to have a benefits package around here. Maybe we just call it that. It's not necessarily inducement. Of course, it's never inducement. What am I saying?
It's never inducement, Tom.
But we
have allowed for.
We have a robust benefits package here that we could offer you.
So
extremely competitive.
I guess my point to make in this moment is that there was a time where we did not believe Florida State could position themselves on that front, the new landscape of recruiting, I'm calling it, could not put themselves in a position to win if it came down to that. I no longer think that's the case. I think Florida State is in a position to act if need be for players who are interested in that sort of thing.
With a competitive benefits package.
A very competitive benefits package. So this set of this turn of events, however frustrating as they might be, in my estimation, from what I understand of the situation, was not directly related to NIL. And that's important. That is important to know. It's important to know because there will be other kids, lots of them, many of whom I hope we have competitive benefit packages ready to showcase. Right? I mean,
maybe we can put the pamphlet back in business.
Per our discussion at the end of last week.
That's right. Here you go. Please see
Might
this
I
pamphlet.
interest you in a brochure?
A brochure.
Of what might be possible.
The brochure. That's the better word. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hope. Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Business owners around Railroad Square say they've seen a series of break-ins over just the past few days and are now adding more security cameras while working with police as officers evaluate evidence and catch the suspect. There were break-ins targeting at least 5 Railroad Square businesses: Fat Cat Books, Juke City Apparel, Crumbox Restaurant, Once Upon a Time Vintage, and the Tallulah CBD store were all hit. Management says businesses are in close communication with the Tallahassee Police Department. The roommate of a Tallahassee man whose body was discovered in a Jackson County landfill in January is charged with his murder. State Attorney Jack Campbell announced Thursday an indictment of Stephen Yinger, 36, on first-degree murder charges in the death of Jorge Diaz-Johnston. The indictment says Yinger strangled Diaz-Johnston sometime between January 3rd and January 5th. Diaz-Johnston was living at an apartment with Stephen Yinger. He is also charged with tampering with evidence, theft of Diaz-Johnston's car, and identity theft. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 55 tonight. Mainly clear skies and quiet. Sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Highs level off around 73. Sunny skies and calm Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 80. 83 Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 79.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their plates. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think? There was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
So we roll on over to Bumpa's and do it up and have a good time and partake in the celebration that is rounds 1 and 2 of the draft, all that good stuff.
It's one of my favorite events of the year, but I mean, it's got company now because there's a golf tournament, the bowling tournament's back. I mean, post-COVID hiatus, we can congregate together. And then there's also the listener party, which also got scrapped for a year, but we brought it back last fall. So there are just so many events that I really enjoy. And this is at the top of the list, though. It's a great night.
It's kind of a weird draft because there's room for, and there always is, but especially I think this year, room for a lot of speculation and movement. I think you have potential for a number of trades given the amount of teams that have multiple first-round picks. So there are, you have that many assets you can maneuver. If you take a team like the Kansas City Chiefs towards the end of the first round, that is a team that has an abundance of picks in the first 2 rounds. And they desperately, obviously, probably want to move up, I would think, to get one of these wide receivers, Garrett Wilson or somebody like that. And you got to project how quickly do all the big name receivers come off the board. Obviously, given that they have to replace Tyreek Hill. So do they move up and do they make a play? And how quickly do these receivers go? There is a thought that the top 3 receivers in this draft could be off the board before you get to 14 or 15, which would strike me as odd, but Olave projects top 15. Wilson, the other Ohio State kid, projects top 15. There are a lot of receivers that people have pegged somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 to 13 or whatever. So do they feel the need to come on up? Probably so. Well, then that impacts the rest of the draft. It's not a quarterback-rich draft. So do guys decide if that's what they need? Do they just trade down? And, of course, there is and accumulate picks. If you're a bad team towards the top of this draft and you don't believe in any of these guys, then why not trade down and try to acquire picks? Chances are, if you have an upper crust pick, it's because you're not a good football team and you lost a lot of games, which means you have a lot of needs. So do they trade down? That leaves room for a lot of other people to move up, and we always love to see when that happens. And then there's the question, obviously, and we'll all be watching very closely, of what happens to Jermaine Johnson, a kid, speaking of which, transfer portal kid from Georgia that we did get, and who made a huge difference for Florida State, obviously, as he was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. I'm happy for that kid for a lot of reasons, not only because he came in here and balled, but because he's done all the right things since arriving in Tallahassee. He has put himself in a position to elevate stock in a way that really a lot of folks now believe could have him in the top 15 as well, speaking of top 15 picks. So wishing Jermaine Johnson well. It's also good for Florida State if he goes that high, because that's a kid that, even though it was a very brief period in time that he was here, A, had a huge impact on the field, B, speaks so highly of this staff, this university, this program, and the community. So that's good. That's good news for us moving down the line.
And he speaks highly of himself. He's unafraid, talking about how he believes he's the best edge rusher, edge player in the draft because he can do it as well against the run, down in and down out, as he does getting after the passer. And there's evidence to point to that he's a very complete player. What's interesting is I read a little bit of Peter King's Monday morning column, and he cited a bunch of scouts and GMs in the business who were saying that this could be the first draft, could be, maybe not, but could be the first draft in which no playmakers are drafted in the first 10. Nobody who touches the football will be drafted in the top 10, because you could see a run on edge players and offensive tackles that eats up 7 or 8 of the picks. And then after that, if you've got an interior defensive lineman or something along those lines, another guard, you might not have a receiver, running back, or quarterback taken in the top 10, which I could see that.
Yeah, listen, there are a lot of tackles in this draft, a lot of defensive ends in this draft. And so everybody's kind of got their thoughts about where those guys go. If you don't love the quarterbacks, they'll fall. If they fall, though, Tom, what I think is fascinating is that middle crust, that part of the draft where you talk about the meat, the sandwich, right? The middle, not a lot of those teams want a quarterback. So now all of a sudden you're going way down the list. But if this goes, Hutchinson early as the defensive end, or Thibodeau, so you got 2 defensive ends towards the top, depends on which one the Jacksonville Jaguars or whomever likes better. Trevon Walker is another guy from Georgia, speaking of defensive ends from Georgia, that is a top 5, top 7 type player. You've got corners. A lot of people like Sauce Gardner. We've talked about that. But you're just talking about skill position. Derek Stingley's another good player. See where he ends up going. But, yeah, I mean, Evan Neal, offensive lineman. If you're not going to take a quarterback, you could also – who's the kid from Purdue, the defensive end whose name's Kalifas or whatever his name is? He escapes me. That kid is the NC State tackle, who I don't like at all.
Jermaine got some good film on him.
Well, I don't get the love for this guy. I know he's 6'4", 330, whatever he is. Every time I watched him, he got beat by the better ends in this conference.
I thought both Kier and Jermaine made some money on that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have him projected very high. Obviously, I like the Ohio State receivers an awful lot, and if Florida State, listen to me, if the Bucs were in position.
Well, that's another thing that the scouts were saying is that this might not have the sex appeal of so many drafts because of the superstar offensive players that would go, for sure, in the top 3.
Sure.
It just doesn't have that. But a lot of scouts are saying that this is one of the deepest drafts in history because of prolonged careers due to COVID. You get an extra year, and a lot of kids decided to stay to fortify their position or better their position. So according to a lot of people who are dialed in for a living as NFL scouts or GMs or whatever, front office people, the middle rounds are as good as they've been. Day 2 is a critical day because you can find difference makers on that day in a way that you would not in a typical draft year.
I'm going to be paying very close attention because there's an outside chance, just because of what happened in the national championship game, that Jamison Williams is dancing around late first round. And if he is, and the Bucs are in a position, yeah, man, because I think of a superstar playmaker for years to come when I see that kid. He's got size. He's quick. He's also fast. He catches contested footballs. He's got a big wingspan. Some people have him dropping to late 20s.
This is a
ACL tear of the national championship game.
This is a junkies draft. No, this is not the casual football fans draft. Like, if you love the game of college football and you've got some interest in the NFL, you like this draft. If you're all about trench play, you love this draft.
You love this draft.
Yeah. But if you like, 4.2 40s and the size to go with it that demand that you must be taken in the top 5, this is not your draft. If you like quarterbacks, this is not your draft.
I wonder who's going to take Pickett. It's a fun draft, though. I think it's a fun draft because I think there's going to be a lot of manipulation. I think a lot of movement on draft day, and we always love trades. We love trades. We love teams being aggressive, moving way up to get their guy. I think you'll see some picks that people will go, well, he wasn't projected to go anywhere near here. It doesn't matter. It takes one team to decide, well, he's my favorite corner in the draft. I'm moving on up to get him because he's not going to be here at 19 or 20, so there you go.
It's one of my favorite things here in this town, too, because there is still an NFL contingent in Tallahassee that doesn't really care that much about college football. So it's fun to watch people go, who? You're like, oh, how do you not know? He's Power 5 football. How do you not know that? But this is one of those years where I think you're going to be hearing NFL fans say who a lot more. Who? Who's that guy? That's a good get. Good job. But you watch them at Bumpus. They all interact like, no, you did great. We did? Yes.
Yes, you did very well.
Yeah.
I don't know Traylon Burks. You should. Big kid at Arkansas, 6'3", crazy big. Think Anquan Bolden.
Thanks. Let's get a beer.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com. This is an important message regarding your backyard grilling capabilities. Upgrade your outdoor grill, indoor and outdoor fireplaces, wood stoves, or create a custom outdoor kitchen. The team at Hearth and Patio can do it all. If you haven't seen all of the amazing things you can do with a custom outdoor kitchen from Hearth and Patio, take a minute and visit their website, hearthpatiotallahassee.com. That's hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Call Hearth and Patio today at 727-4282. That's 428.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
On February 24th, Russia shocked the world with its invasion of the Ukraine. Since then, more than 2 million people of all ages have been displaced from their home. As we Floridians watch these events unfold in the Ukraine, you may wonder, how can I help? One way is by donating to the World's Central Kitchen. So far, World's Central Kitchen has served over 1 million hot meals across 330 distribution points in more than 55 cities. Your donation will help continue to provide much-needed nourishment and feed displaced families, innocent children that are fleeing a very real war zone. Donate now at WCK.org. That's WCK.org. World Central Kitchen, because food is a universal right. The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
We had 4 players come out and say, hey, that was great. Good to see Amari Gaynor, Jared Verse, Big Coop, all those guys come out. That was fun. And those guys even swung the club a little bit. So that was fun too. Coop had a nice shot.
He did. And then
you could tell he was stunned.
I forget who it was. They hit a one-hopper to the group in front of them on the carts, and there was a nice play made. But
yeah.
It was those three. Keyshawn Helton all made the rounds, and it was really cool to see them out there. And that's where I say, good. I'm glad we live in an NIL world, because that was, I do believe, Rising Spears Garnet program, because we are at charity golf tournaments, a charity event.
Yeah, it was Rising Spears Garnet division,
right,
if you will. And they came out at the charity event and volunteered their time and really kind of went group to group to group, take pictures, hit shots, have some fun. I know they did. So I wanted to thank them, and that was a lot of fun. So good. I overlooked that early on. As an aside, since this is a short segment, I'm convinced that no matter how hard I root for him, he will never win when in contention if I care. And I'm talking about Harold Varner. I can't do it anymore. It's driving me nuts, man. I desperately want that. He's such an affable dude. He seems like eminently likable.
Well,
he's funny. He's self-deprecating. I love the gear. I love everything. I mean, he's the only guy on tour with the gear. And I know you don't even have to be a fan of Jordan. I just like their golf gear. And he's the only one who wears it that I'm aware of.
He was summoning all the powers from the Blood Money Invitational in Saudi, where he holed out on the 72nd to win.
From 60 feet away or
he
whatever
was using
was.
that confidence clearly on the 18th at Harbortown, because
dropped.
that putt was very, very close.
Well, you
to
saw
dropping.
Lowry gave him the pat on the shoulder, man, that's a hell of a run at it.
Yes.
And I love Lowry. Either one of those two, like one of you two win this thing.
Yeah.
No.
Jordan's comment was not intentionally funny, but it was. I won this tournament without a putter. That's funny. That actually.
Yeah, he made a huge putt on 18 though, and he made some putts when he had to.
If he had more bravado about him, that would be something I'd be like, all right, I like you.
He won last year on
It's not
Easter.
enough for me to like him though.
He won last year on Easter. He wins this year on Easter. Next year's Easter tournament is Sunday at Augusta.
Yep. Amanda couldn't wait to tell him that, even though she botched it.
She did botch it, but she can botch anything she wants. She's a great hire, an amazingly talented human being. They don't show enough of Amanda being the pro that she is. We deserve more looks at Amanda's professionalism from tournament to tournament. I just want you to know that.
Were you proud of Patrick Cantlay for just brushing off being absolutely screwed?
Yeah, because that's all you can do, and golf was golf at the worst possible time for him. I mean, just absolutely fried egg. I'm like, look at this poor bastard. of all the things. And he had no shot. You could hear Faldo going, well, good luck.
It's 25 feet here. It'd be glorious.
I mean, that was insane. When you saw that, he had to walk over that
There
hill
are different kinds of fried eggs, too. And
Yeah.
that one, you're like, oh, man.
There's no getting that close.
But that's an awful miss because multiple players had already left it short. And so
Including Jordan.
the wind is stronger, and 30 feet long is way better than 12 feet short.
Well, if you don't get a bad lie there, he'll stick that close the way that Jordan did because they're all so good out of the sand. He just got a lie that's a toughie. He and his caddy came over the hill and went, okay, all right. Well, Jordan, congratulations. There you go. Jordan handled that well too. Patrick got a bad break. He knows.
Hate it for you.
Yeah.
As a good friend of ours, yes, you do, would often say at the original Tiki Bar at the Old Gordo's location, I hate it for you.
Yeah.
Perhaps there were dice being rolled.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What a shame that is.
What a shame.
What a shame.
I just hate it for you.
It looked like it was right there on a 3, and then it just kind of rolled one last time, and instead that's a 6. That's a bad break. It's a bad break. It's terrible. Or you had 4 3s there, but one fell off the table. Got to pick them all up. That's a toughie. That's a toughie indeed.
I played in a match once with a mutual friend of ours, and it was played as it lies. And through 6 holes, he was in 3 footprints in a bunker. And I'm like, I feel so bad. I don't know what to do. Hate it for you.
Florida State's baseball team has proven once and for all that A, baseball is baseball. I say it on the show all the time. And B, Jekyll and Hyde exists as it pertains to Florida State baseball. They are, at times, capable of looking like the pits of the world. And at other times, they look like a team that could pitch their way to a national championship. It is that extreme. And this past week lays it all bare. You are in the crosshairs of fans across this fan base. You rise up, shut out, dominate the University of Florida, turn right around and sweep a top 10 Louisville team and really pretty much dominate the weekend. I know it got dicey there in the 3rd game, but still you dropped 10 on them, overcame a 3-0 deficit early, did something you haven't done on Sundays all year long, which is show up and dominate and win 10-9. And now that's a sweep. And so what do we think? I don't know. Corey asked that question on warchant.com, but I don't know the answer to that. I think they're capable of looking really bad, as we've seen. But as we said early on in the year, they're also capable of looking very, very good. They have a lot of arms to throw at the problem. If they pick up the baseball even a little bit and they cut down on strikeouts, they're a bear to have to play. This weekend, they cut way down on strikeouts. They picked up the baseball, and they were able to overcome in spots some poor pitching.
Yeah, on Saturday, starting the 9th. Can we stop that now? That would be my one request. It's a humble request. Now, Scolaro picked up a big out.
I've been requesting it for some time.
As Gary Cohen of the Mets said, king-sized out in the 8th. But after seeing what Carson can do, I know that he wants to be a starter, but after seeing what he can do in the 9th, I think that's how he helps this baseball team. There's your guy who misses bats in the 9th inning. There's your closer.
It's kind of interesting. They've got a good problem in a weird way. And a lot of choices. It's good to know that you have a lot of choices. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Reminder, Ira Schoffel will join us in that hour. Stay tuned. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Plus, a shot at a $10,000 grand prize. Here's your new keyword.
Change. C-H-A-N-G-E. Change. C-H-A-N-G-E. Change.
Enter that word now at realtalk93.com, and you might be the next winner.
Sweet girl, thank you. Oh my God. I just won $1,000. Hey, this is Monica. Hey, this is Elizabeth, and I just won $1,000. All right.
More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next after this town hall news break on WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Ukrainian city is on the brink of collapse after being battered by Russian forces.
President Putin calls his goal the liberation of this country's east. He is showing the world what that means in Mariupol. Street battles have intensified for days. The city's defenders are holed up in a giant steelworks, now told by Moscow's forces to surrender or die. But Ukraine says they'll fight to the end. Mariupol's fate could seal the next stage of the war as it moves to the east, and those from the hardest hit areas are running out of time to escape.
That's the BBC's Tom Bateman. Today is tax day, and correspondent Bernie Bennett explains that filing for an extension may be better than rushing a return.
Today is tax day, the federal deadline for individual tax filings and payments, and the IRS expects to receive tens of millions of last-minute filings electronically and through paper forms. The IRS has received more than 103 million returns for this tax season, and it had issued more than 63 million refunds worth more than $204 billion. Nina Tross, executive director of the National Society of Tax Professionals, said that if people haven't filed taxes by now, quote, they're better off filing an extension. But people don't realize that filing an extension has zero effect as long as they have paid their income taxes by tax day. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Israeli troops shot and wounded 2 Palestinians today in clashes in the West Bank. Wall Street stocks higher. More at townhall.com.
I'm about to compare a pepper shaker to a cash-out refinance. Hang with me. You know when you're at a restaurant and they ask, would you like some fresh ground pepper? And then they crank that giant tube, but almost nothing comes out? For me, only a certain amount of time is socially acceptable to wait. I know that getting that pepper out might make my life better, but it just seems too impossible. And that's what we hear people say about the cash-out refinance. People realize that the value of their home has gone up like hot pepper the last few years, leaving all this extra money sitting inside their home. But is it too hard to get out? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. If you're interested in cashing out the extra pepper in your home, we're good at doing all the work while you just sit back and relax. And often, your mortgage payment and years in the loan will stay the same. If you'd like to hear about your options,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mims has decided to stay at Georgia, and that is frustrating, obviously. Ira Schoffel going to join us this hour when I ask him his thoughts on that news of the day, obviously, and he said to me early on this morning, I'll talk to you guys today at 2:30. I'm here to own it and talk about it, so we'll do just that at 2:30. That news is bad news for Florida State because that would have solved an awful lot of problems. And it's an area of pressing need. It has been for some time. It's what makes it all the more disappointing. Doesn't matter the reasons, although I think people want particulars as best as he'll be able to give them. But the bottom line is you still have a need there now. And so we'll see if Florida State is diving right back into that portal, because hopefully there's another guy out there. He won't be as high profile for sure, but you still need to get a guy.
Yeah, if I'm one of the backup tackles on this roster, my ass is in the jackpot. That's what I'm thinking, man. Because they saw the presentation, the way everything was rolled out for Lloyd. Or, sorry, nope, that was a Freudian slip.
Not Lloyd.
Freudian slip.
Definitely not Lloyd.
Yeah, for Amarius. Then they're thinking, ooh, boy, I guess they're believing in the coaches' offices. They have a real need here.
Well, Lloyd knows damn well he didn't do anything this spring. I mean, he was out there getting his ass kicked every day. He knows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think while you're in flux like this, you got to expect that the staff is going to do everything they can, especially when big-time talents become available. I suppose you're relieved maybe in a weird way if you're one of those players at that position that it didn't come through, that the reports turned out not to be or not come to fruition. But I mean, everybody else I would think is like, well, I understand what we're doing here. We did go 5-7 last year. You got an effort to turn that around and turn it around quickly.
I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you to get there. I would love for you to get there, and maybe you will, but I can't wait for it. So I'm gonna say this again. And if you missed the last hour, we talked about this in the first segment, and I gave you my thoughts on this. I think a lot of things happened that led to this, where he decided to pull his name out of the portal and stay at Georgia. Some of those things are completely unforeseen and really, quite frankly, quite literally tragic. And that's, and there are more important things than football. I'm well aware of that. But I do think that Mike Norvell may be one of the most unlucky coaches in the history of coaching. It's unreal. It's unreal. I cited Winston Wright's situation, which is a different deal, but nonetheless awful. You're trying to fill positions of incredible need, and you've got guys lined up, in some cases arriving on campus, practicing with the team, ready to go, and then you have an ugly situation. Luckily, nobody died in that situation with Winston Wright, but it's an ugly car accident, and that affects his football future, and thus affects Florida State's football future. And it's more important that he be okay. I get all that. We're all grown-ups here. We understand that. But at the same time, if you're just talking about Florida State football, man, I mean, every time you look up, you're like, really? Okay. No, that's going to happen. It's, and he can't say that, and he shouldn't. Hopefully he's not walking around feeling like that something's going to fall from the sky. But I know the fan base feels that way. I know I feel that way. I feel like 95% of the equation here has been just, wow. Oh, so that's going to happen. If you take the entirety of his tenure with fiery speech,
timing, and all that
COVID,
stuff,
bam, But then the other 5% stuff like Jacksonville State, like that's where it's. Like,
I'm not saying there haven't been mistakes. Yeah, I'm not saying there haven't been mistakes.
You win that game, who knows what that class looks like? Maybe it looks a little bit better. Maybe those one or two players that pushes the 50-50 battle to 51-49 for us, but overwhelmingly so. You're right. I'm thinking, man, this guy's Job over here. They're just going to get hit again and again and again.
You better have the patience of. I'll just tell you, because I mean, at this point, you still have to go back in there. I mean, you can't have the mentality that we're talking about right now. It can't be that, and I doubt it is. I'm sure it's not. But you have to know that we got to that end. Got to get some players in here that can be plug and play right now. That camp told us that. I mean, the camp said we're good here, we're better here, we're improving here, but we need this now. So I'm very curious to see what they do in the coming days in the transfer portal. Obviously, more and more names come out, and you kind of sit back and hope that you're in a position to make a move. Now, that was the other thing that we addressed last hour, is that despite the bitter disappointment and frustration and anger that a lot of people feel right now, I get all that. It was good to know, and it is good to know, that aspects of the new elements of recruiting are in place. I mean, I think we learned that. I think we did learn that. And obviously, wording matters, and we get all that. But I'm comfortable knowing that Florida State is in a position to react quickly when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I don't, we're not Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I don't know that we can do that with any class for the foreseeable future. But if there's somebody that we need to secure, and multiple people that we need to secure. I feel better about that now. I just wish it was post fact with Mims as the first, first reason that you would be pointing there. And somebody will be, but it ain't gonna be him now. So
well, when you talk about how it is that you end up, so a very strange day and a strange weekend. But if you think about both sides of the equation, so you think about Florida State, a kid of that caliber does indeed enter the transfer portal. So, oh my lucky day. You got a guy in a position of need who you have a working relationship with, thanks to the way that you recruited him when he was coming out of high school. You know that your offensive line coach really made inroads with he and his family. If you don't believe that, then I would ask you why it was that he entered the transfer portal in his first visit and only visit was to Florida State. So that's not debatable, that the relationship was good, the connection was there. So they come to visit. There's video footage of that. Obviously, all the sites had the footage of the young man arriving and meeting Mike Norvell and the war chant blaring, shaking hands outside the hotel, the whole situation, right? So, okay, that's a positive sign that you have your ducks in a row. You've made contact. You've convinced them to make a visit. They've arrived. We hear what we do. Ira reports on warchant.com that he's coming to Florida State, that he's going to come to Florida State. And given Ira's sterling reputation in this career, that of journalism, you say, okay, I don't think he would have felt comfortable reporting that had he not done his due diligence. I'm going to trust that he did, and I still do. And therefore, we're going to conduct the rest of the show on that day, that Thursday, as it's going to happen. Now, fast forward. It doesn't happen. And you feel absolutely like every time there's a player of major influence, potentially major influence of your team, 5-star, Travis Hunter being the first time this happened, where you begin to get this gut punch, this feeling that you're cursed, even though there's no such thing as curses. So you're sitting there thinking, well, man, what am I ever going to love again? Am I ever going to be free to love again? Am I ever going to trust again? Am I ever going to trust Warchant again? Plenty of people right now will say no. Am I ever going to trust that we're going to get a great player? Plenty of people right now will say, I doubt it. Am I ever going to trust Mike Norvell and staff? No. Am I ever going to trust it? There are plenty of people right now. The answer to that question is no. No, I'm not. Because we keep getting running kicks to the cojones. Now, there are other circumstances to consider. There are a lot of things that happen. And some of them are very delicate as it pertains to this young man specifically. Because we do know that a teammate of his and a friend of his, unfortunately, in a tragic car accident, passed. And I don't know if ultimately that was the reason for him to return and decide to stay at Georgia. I don't know that. I have not asked the young man that. I haven't asked his family that. He hasn't stated anything publicly. But I'm capable of connecting the dots. And it would seem to me that that had an influence. And how could it not? How could it not? I'm not here to cast aspersions or anything like that. I'm just saying, how could it not? It is an impossible thing to predict and project. I mean, right? Who nobody walks around life doing that. So
they will know.
Well, I mean, what they'll do is what I said going all the way back to signing day, which is I don't I won't allow myself to believe that if I really like a kid, any kid, Marvin Jones Jr. was my guy. That was my guy that I cared. Travis Hunter, that would have been great. Everybody said that was like the be all end all, but Travis Hunter's a corner. I love corners and that's great, but he's a corner. I'm Marvin Jones guy. I wanted Marvin Jones Jr. I thought that a legacy guy, we've got to pull out all the stops. We got to get that kid. Heartbroken about that. Didn't happen.
Yeah, I wonder if our infrastructure for the benefits packages that are, of course, not inducing, but post-fact.
But now in place.
Yeah, I wonder if that might have been enough to maybe, secure. But here's the great thing about college football these days.
I don't know.
Yeah, he might be here in 2 years. You never know.
Well, and that is the part about what coaches have to be able to do, internalize and kind of, all right, moving on to the next, because you can't afford to be embittered. You can't afford to certainly say anything publicly that is besmirching of the young man. You can't do any of that stuff, because not only are you hopeful that down the line you might have an opportunity to bring that kid in here if he's disgruntled or unhappy for any reason at the locale of choice, but also you got to do that with your own roster. You can never take for granted that the kid you did win over the first time around, that he won't decide that he's a little unhappy and seeking greener pastures. So you're constantly having to re-recruit. We talk about this a lot these days. It is a very, very difficult thing to kind of get a handle on. But it's also not something to ignore. So you're just stuck. Damned if you do, damned if you don't right now. And it's frustrating.
I believe a phrase that's often used on the show for rough moments. And given that, we haven't played a lot of good football here last 7 years, you could use it again. Damn it, man. Right? Damn it, man.
Well, and I want to say that when some folks that I have as sources reached out to me in the last 24 hours and said, we might be in a little bit of trouble here. There's some stuff, there's some tough circumstances that we didn't see happening. I thought I did the nod. I read the text. Okay. That's a toughie. Can't have nice things. And then I went outside and played with the kids, because that's where I'm at now. Like, okay, I don't trust it.
No, you need to become a worse father when you get news like that.
What I need to do is assume the answer is always no. No, he's not coming. But Jeff, he's here now. He's signed. They're moving him into his football dorm. Nope, don't believe it. Well, no, here he is. Here, look at him. There he's walking. Nope. Don't believe it. I'll see at practice. If he's there, then maybe.
Well, I can confirm something for you. We'll have good weather for our golf tournament.
We did indeed.
Yep. We can confirm that. That's a yes.
Perfect weather for the golf tournament. And a thanks to everybody who participated. A thanks to all of our sponsors. A thanks to all of you who helped out in any way, shape, or form. Because ultimately that was the good news of the weekend, or heading into the weekend, was that it was a rousing success and the charity did quite well, which is the goal. And I'm really pleased. And they were a lot of fun to work with as well. So moving forward, that'll be a go again next year. If you didn't get to play this year, hopefully you'll have the opportunity to sign up as quick as possible when we announce it next year, because it is it's a tournament that's going to continue to do well. I can tell people are supportive, and I'm appreciative. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been serving North Florida for over 50 years. When you've been around that long, you're certain to see change. Back in the day, almost all of our competitors were just like us, owned and operated by local people to keep their lawns green, protect North Florida customers from pests, and their homes from termites. We always had a great respect for our competitors because they truly cared about the well-being of our community as we at Paul's do. But things began to rapidly change. The local competition began selling out to big companies based in places like Orlando, Atlanta, and Memphis. Local decisions being made by people who know very little about the unique needs of North Florida. And now, many of them are being bought by international companies based overseas. Local decisions made by people in Great Britain. In our industry, being local does matter. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is still owned, managed, and operated by people that live in North Florida. This is our community. We proudly make it our home, and all of our decisions are made locally to serve our customers. For the elimination of termites and other pests,
and a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue just north of Havana have become your destination for the best food either side of the state line. But what if you want fresh seafood? Say no more. Kenny and the crew have got you covered with seafood so fresh, the only way you'll get it fresher is if you grow a set of gills. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, 1 mile north of the last light in Havana. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, open 7 days a week. Get your fill at the grill.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Why don't we preview a big, I don't know, Florida State LSU game week 2? Yeah. Well,
so what's the starting O-line?
I'm gonna exclude the Duquesne game, although we do enter into now that everything is behind us with the spring game. Oh, can I just say that adds to this a little bit, that dour feeling like, damn it, the spring game stunk too. Just an avalanche of ass right off the bat here. Just like, all this stuff is not good.
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I don't like it.
An avalanche?
You can't.
Where do I fly?
And then, not only that, as you're dealing with the avalanche of ass, you're thinking, well,
you did say that.
Soon enough, there will be games. No, there won't. Did you watch the USFL?
No.
Me neither. Did you even know it was on?
Did
you accidentally stumble across it?
No, somewhat. I knew that it was on. Like, I knew it was going to be on during the weekend. I couldn't have told you what time and what channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't know either. And I don't know that I'm going to make the move over there. It's just not the right season. I can never get past it. I've seasoned on over. I'm over here to baseball. I've got the hockey playoffs coming up. I watched the NBA playoffs. The Tatum basket at the end was exhilarating. Were you watching the end of that game? It was awesome.
Kind of on Twitter, I was watching it.
That game was incredible.
Yeah.
That had the back and forth that belied the matchup to begin with, that I thought, yeah, here we go.
I just saw the birds, the 3 birds, those single and then the double bird. I was like, okay, good. Get your blood up.
No, I loved it. It was riveting. That's the series that everybody wanted to watch anyhow.
I was actually pretty pleased with how that exchange went for both ends of it. I don't like Kyrie. I don't like the fans in Boston, But as long as nobody's throwing stuff at people or shouting epithets or punching each other, then okay, this is the playoffs the way I remember it.
Yes, it's ugly, but it's not so ugly that we cross that line.
You probably just need to drop an F-bomb and not shoot the bird. That it used to be that, you would just yell at fans, but okay, whatever. There have been so many instances across sports where people are running onto the playing surface or the players are running into the stands.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I remember in the 90s. These are the good old days.
I've often wondered what I would do in that scenario. Players are taught under no circumstance. Now, there are lines that can be crossed where you are a man, and if somebody were to assault you or come after your family in some sort in the stands, like you would, okay, all bets are off at that point. We all know what that line is, right? Whatever that is to be crossed. And there are fans who have crossed it across every sport where you've seen something happen and you go, well, kind of had to do that there. You at some point you want the fan to take a whooping. But if it's just that they're yelling at you, especially after a loss or whatever it might be, they tell all the leagues tell their players, like, just keep it walking, man. You can't win that battle. You have a lot more to lose than they do. But I always wonder, tough losses right after it happens.
Well, I just love the moment with the double birds behind the head, like the shot. You can't see what he's doing, but you know what he's doing, and everybody's laughing and smiling, and they're like, "Hey!" It's just
because they're laughing because they got to him.
Right. But that's almost an innocent way of banter back and forth because they're not throwing things, they're not getting purple faced and screaming like that lady in Miami did to LeBron. Remember that lady?
Bizarre.
That was, uncomfortable.
I just remember the
plastic
lady,
surgeon patient.
I just remember the lady that hated Jameis down in Miami, flipping him double birds the whole night.
Oh, yeah.
The whole night, right in the end zone.
Right.
The pain in her heart, that was something to bathe in, those tears. It was the thing of beauty. The frustration on her face as she watched her worst nightmare play out. And because Dalvin reminded her.
She and McCarron's mom.
I forget about that too. That's always good. All right, I said it before. Short segment here. Let's come back. Let's have Ira Schoffel on. Talk about Mr. Mims and the reporting of and where we're at now. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
This year, the tax filing deadline is back to its regular date, which is today. The IRS had extended the tax filing deadline for the past 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But as things settle, taxpayers will need to send in their tax returns by tonight at midnight. Those who need more time can still file an extension. This will allow taxpayers to file until October 17th. People will need to file Form 4868. An ITIN is not required to file for an extension, but it is necessary to file taxes. Those requesting an extension will also need to estimate how much they may owe. This year's average refund is expected to be more than $3,200. Florida Highway Patrol responded to a single car crash Saturday morning on North Salt Road and Government Farm Road. Upon arrival, FHP found a sedan located off the west shoulder of the roadway around 1:15 a.m. Jefferson County EMD pronounced the 40-year-old man was dead on the scene. This incident is still an active investigation. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 55 tonight. Mainly clear skies and quiet. Sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Highs level off around 73. Sunny skies and calm Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 80. 83 Thursday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 80.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's,
bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone include that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
Good stuff. If you're listening on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, thanks so much as well. We're going to bring him in right now. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, the website. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing, man?
I'm well. Listen, before we go any further, can you confirm that Maryland's defensive tackle, Darrell Jackson, is going to sign with Florida State?
I am not going to confirm that, Jeff.
Damn it. I wanted to break the news here. I wanted to make this happen. But alas, we'll be left in the lurch. I'll put this in the back end and we'll deal with the story at hand here. Let's talk about Mims. Obviously, this is a timeline that we should go back through. Obviously, Ira, you reported for us on Warchant.com. And so it is that now that we find out he's removed his name from the portal and he's not coming here, but rather staying at Georgia. I don't know where you want to begin, but I owe it to you to start wherever you'd like. Obviously, you did the reporting on the story, felt confident about it, had sources. You're an established and well-thought-of journalist and have been for a very, very long time. If you'd like, just take us through this process and where we stand.
Yeah, man. I think like you and I and Tom talked a little bit about it off the air over the last week, last 4 or 5 days anyway. I don't necessarily cover recruiting in the standpoint of trying to break recruiting stories. We have people that cover recruiting on a more regular basis. But I got information that I believed was credible, and I know who was from it, the fact that it was credible. And I believe at the time, I think that there was every indication that Amarius Mims was going to sign with Florida State or transfer to Florida State. And, in the time since then, he has apparently changed his heart and pulled his name out of the transfer portal. So it's, I think part of what with this process, I think one thing I've certainly learned through this process, and I think, it's probably exacerbated now because of what's going on in the transfer portal and all the changes to the college football landscape with NIL deals, all of the things that are going on and player empowerment. Now, especially with transfers, until they actually enroll in, in your school, it's probably going to be tough to know that that's going to happen. So, again, it's unfortunate. I wish it worked out better for Florida State. I wish, I kind of wish I hadn't reported it just from the standpoint of, it turned out to change. But when we reported it, that was what the information we had.
Yeah, but you have a process and you adhered to that, right? So you didn't willy-nilly do it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this wasn't an effort to be first. This wasn't an effort to scoop, because I don't know that the risk reward that we're talking about here is such that that if you beat anybody to press on a situation where a lot of people understood that it certainly looked like he intended to transfer to Florida State, that you win anything there. It's not like you get more subscribers or anything like that, or you gain credibility. You did it because of the information, right? Or if you'd like, explain it to me. You did it because you had a trusted source and you felt like at that point you needed to go with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's in the reality is the way the recruiting and commitment process works is very different for a transfer prospect versus for high school recruits. When high school recruits, go through the process, it's a, just a much longer process. The visits are planned out. There's a longer, just process of information coming through because they have a year or more to go through that process. With transfers, a lot of times these things are done instantaneously. There have been transfers who literally have gone in the portal. The day they've gone in the portal, have taken phone calls from a couple colleges and decided right then, without taking any visits, that they were going to sign with the school, or they were going to transfer to a new school. So from that standpoint, yeah, the idea wasn't to break it because, just to throw something out there, throw it against the wall because we thought it was going to happen. I believed it was going to happen. I believed it was a done deal, that it was a formality at that point. So it turns out it wasn't. But again, I do think that the recruiting process has always been kind of fluid. I think now in this age with, again, the portal and the NIL deals and all that kind of stuff, I think it's just going to be more and more, just more of things like this where you just have to, kind of be as careful as possible and then hope for the best.
So I ask you this question, not knowing whether you know or not know or feel comfortable saying, but I'll ask it because I'm sure a lot of people would like to know. Do we know what changed? Do we know what happened to change that led to Mims withdrawing his name from the portal and staying at Georgia? Do we have anything the concrete that we can go with there?
I don't have anything definitive. I mean, I just think that, when he went back home, I think there was talk while he was here and leading up to the visit that he might take another visit or two. And then all of that got shut down. And, I think some people made the correlation between, he did have a high school friend who was killed in an accident, which was awful. And I don't know if that's related or not, but there are, there's a lot of people speculating that. He shared on social media, I think, a post after it as well. And so I don't know if that's changed his plans and then maybe it caused him to reconsider everything. I mean, I really don't know. Or maybe he just went home and the more he thought about it, changed his mind. But, it wasn't until late yesterday there started being some reports out of Athens that he was talking to people back at Georgia and was thinking about staying. And then this morning we found out for sure.
Do you believe that he or anybody in his camp used Florida State to try to get a better deal than what existed at Georgia, or do you don't think it's that at all?
I mean, it's hard for me to say. I wouldn't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I just don't think you need to go through all that. I mean, I think there are players on college campuses around the country who are, if they feel like their value is at a certain level and they think other schools might be able to help them get NIL deals or bigger NIL deals, I think you're going to see more and more of that going on, and schools having to kind of re-recruit their players and try to keep them from doing that. I'm not going to say that this guy came down here explicitly to play Florida State. I think it's more likely that he was sincerely interested. He really likes Alex Atkins. There's a great opportunity to play at Florida State. I mean, there's so many things that lined up well for Florida State in this situation where, he's got a opportunity for playing time, a great relationship with the coaching staff. It's not far away. It's basically similar distance to Athens. He was going to fill a huge need and all of those things. I think, it made a lot of sense for him to come to Florida State, but I don't think he could have done that a bunch of different ways without the way it played out.
He didn't take any other visits though, right? When he was in the portal, the only place he came to was Tallahassee to speak to Florida State.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. Like if it was a play, he could have gone to other schools and seen what they had to offer. And, what other opportunities were out there and then come back to Georgia. There's no incentive for him to come out of the portal this quickly, just after one visit, if that's what he was trying to do. So I don't think it was that. I think it's just circumstances, in his life or his opinions or whatever changed. And it's just, unfortunate for Florida State.
Final thing on this, Ira, I'll ask you. Obviously, we know that you had the information that you did, and you stand by that. You stand by the reporting. And so you went to press, if you will, and wrote the story. Is there any element of this that you regret?
I mean, I think from our standpoint, but there's a couple of the wording things right off the bat. And I've expressed that on our message boards a couple of times. It was hard to say what was actually happening because I didn't want to use the word commitment in the story, and I didn't use the word commitment in the story or the headline because I didn't feel like that's associated now with a guy doing a social media post and an edit, like especially with the high school prospects. Again, the transfers are a different animal because a lot of times this is a business decision. It's not necessarily going through the whole press conferences and putting out videos and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot less fanfare. So I didn't want to use the word commitment. I also didn't want to just say that I wasn't sure how to write it at first. So anyway, what I wrote was that the headline was he's to transfer to Florida State, and I said in the story that he's going to sign with Florida State. I definitely should have said. I should have definitely said he's
intends to enroll or something like that,
or intends to enroll or something along those lines. And when I did, I did go back and change the wording a little bit on the message boards later. But so from that standpoint, because it was the first time we've dealt with something like that, quite those circumstances, I wasn't exactly sure to how to word it. So I could have handled it better. And then the other thing that was really unfortunate was we do commitment videos ahead of time, and we if there's a player we expect to commit on a certain day, we'll do a video ahead of time. We had one of those done, and so when the news went live, we published the video. I wish we had not done that because, again, it made it seem like the kid had announced it, and the kid had not announced it. So anyway, just kind of
lesson learned, I guess. Situation. Yeah. Well, one last chance. Daryl Jackson. Any word on Daryl Jackson?
Dude, I've been on the phone with you. I'm just telling you.
Be well, sir. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Thanks, brother. Be good. Ira Schoffel, his thoughts on the Mims situation. Obviously, he wrote the story that we published on warchant.com. And over the weekend, circumstances shifted, changed the direction of this story. Understandably, it's not a great look, but Ira, being the professional and man that he is, I knew he'd come on and talk about it today. And he did. And I appreciate that. Just couldn't get him to commit on this Daryl Jackson thing because I felt like we could scoop all the while fixing, a little simultaneous.
He's an interior guy, right? That player?
I don't know.
We really need another one of those.
It's a defensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, got a lot of good ones.
But is he coming here?
Oh, geez, yeah.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
People trust Sellers for better tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Sellers Flooring Advisor Ryan Fitzgerald.
We understand most people don't come in with great knowledge of what they're looking for or what they need. So at Sellers, what we try to do is use our expertise to guide you through the process.
Get Sellers working for you.
We make it easy, and we have the experts on staff to get you where you need to be, and we give you the options.
On Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive. Call 656-8453. Online at sellerstile.com.
Being a mom is tough, so let's make those weeknight dinners a little bit easier. This Mother's Day, Real Talk 93 and Basic Brooks Law offices want to give one tough mother a grand prize of 22 gift cards from local restaurants for Mother's Day 2022. All you have to do is visit realtalk93.com and send us a message telling us why your nominee is one tough mother. Brought to you by Dana Brooks and the Basic Brooks Law offices. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks. Online at basicbrooks.com.
Hey, fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop. You save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Is that guaranteed?
So it sounds like they were just waiting on the Gilmore contract in Indianapolis so they could see the figures and, dot the I's and cross the T's.
6 more years through 2027 is the contract for Ward with Cleveland. And so it is that he's maybe a pantless guy right about now. I mean, I know if I sign that contract, pants aren't necessary. Feeling pretty good about the direction we're headed at that point. I know we need to do this. We'll do it in a second. First, though, let me tell you about our partners, Chad and Shannon. They're part of the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Don't want to deal with an intimidating mortgage process. Nobody does. And they, basically design this process for you to understand it. It's simplistic. It's straightforward. It's speed. It's great service, great rates, cutting-edge technology, and a transparent line of communication. That's what you want. That, some people would say, is a 5-star mortgage experience. I agree. You're going to get a different kind of mortgage experience with my friends here, Chad and Shannon, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Appreciate their partnership with the Jeff Cameron Show, and appreciate you guys reaching out. FSUHomeLoans.com. Check it out, FSUHomeLoans.com, or give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. Losing my voice on a Monday. What is going on here? I cannot shake it. I feel great.
Every once in a while, though, you have that wheezy cough. Sounds like maybe like a traffic lady who works in the radio.
Smoking 4 packs a day. Yeah, no.
Or what's her name that does the VJing on MTV back in the day? Nina? Nina Davis? Because she's on that channel now.
Man,
and you're like, oh, man.
Rode hard, put up wet.
She lived the life.
Man.
Coming up next.
Yeah, Nina Blackwood, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. That's back in the day. I remember as a kid, as like a
I think we knew the other Nina. That's whoops.
Yeah. Nina.
Sorry, Nina.
Yeah, Nina Blackwood, who back in the day, because of her crazy heavy metal blonde hair, I was like, oh, she's a wild one. I want to party with her. Which sounds like lots of people did.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like many people
got
did.
some Bon Jovi coming up next.
North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. NorthFloridaPayroll.com.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Philip from North Florida Payroll Services joined us out there on the links.
Finishing second.
Yeah.
It's a good
doing
good
some
job.
things.
Yeah. They sponsored the putting contest, too. I heard Corey had an over 500 record. Wasn't domination, but it was a win.
Well, you got to do the same putt repeatedly, right? I would think you'd probably figure it out at some point.
He actually sunk it against North Florida Payroll. Thanks for your sponsorship. You lose.
Get you some of that. Giants, Mets, Alex Cobb, Tyler McGill. Rays, Cubs, Shane McClanahan. Kyle Hendricks goes for the Cubs. Oh, boy, here we go. Pirates, Brewers. Looking at you. Zach Thompson, Eric Bauer. Should be a good match. Buckeyes are 500. Angels, Astros. Michael Lorenzen, Luis Garcia. Phillies, Rockies. Aaron Nola, Chad Kuhl. Former Pirate. Not any good. Orioles, A's. Spencer Watkins and Frankie Montas. We got the Reds and the Padres. Nick Lodolo, Sean Manaea. Oh, heavyweight fight tonight. Going to be tuned in if I'm up that late. We'll see. Braves, Dodgers, Huascar Noah, and Clayton Kershaw. Got to leave Clayton Kershaw in a perfect game. What are we doing?
Ridiculous.
What are we doing?
If his arm falls off, who cares? You've gotten your World Series. He's a franchise player for you.
More than one.
You let him go for it.
He's only at 80 pitches.
Yeah.
It's not like 110 pitches with 2 innings to play. Come on.
Insanity.
Not what you do. Not what you do at all. That's bad for baseball. How to find him. Twins, Red Sox already played. Dylan Bundy and Rich Hill were on the mound. White Sox, Guardians postponed. Dallas Keuchel, Shane Bieber. D-backs, Nats postponed as well. Tomorrow you'll get Madison Bumgarner and Josiah Gray. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the book. Yeah, the first two, I guess it's the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, you get the, I mean, I already purchased it, but you get the MLB package for free, I think, right? Man, I hate being the one. I have to let down family members and others who are all excited. Like, I got it for some reason. It's where I got the whole thing. I'm like, no, it's going to go away. They're not going to. I've been watching all the games. Enjoy it now because it goes away next week.
There's 1 year in my life where it just stayed on, and it was cool. But
just by accident, they just forgot to turn it off?
Yes.
What a great time.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't call in and say, guys, I think I'm getting this free. This doesn't feel right.
I had already gotten MLB TV, but the television package stayed on. So I'd already paid for it. But I was like, oh, well, I guess I don't have to switch the inputs here. I could just stay on the TV box if I want to watch it.
I had a maddening experience. It all got worked out, but no thanks to the woman I spoke to on the phone for the better part of 45 minutes after I had signed up for MLB's package, the TV, the whole deal. She called it Major League Basketball. Thanks for signing up for Major League Basketball. I'm like, ma'am, no, I didn't. There's no such thing, first of all. Secondly, it's baseball. Let's get this together.
Sounds fun. Major League Basketball? That sounds good.
Yeah, but baseball's been good so far. And I spend my evenings pleasantly with baseball on in the backdrop as I'm cooking dinner, getting everybody ready to go. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm enjoying a lot more baseball in mid-April because typically this is when the Stanley Cup playoffs have already begun and baseball has to be put back on the shelf after a little 1 week free trial. It's like that 1 week free trial is my own trial, but you got 2 full weeks until the Stanley Cup playoffs start. So locked in baseball every night.
So I want to close out and revisit this really quickly because we got the probables a little early. But I do think that what I said back when we really did concentrate on what happened with signing day is just going to hold true moving forward. I don't think in the land of NIL and this nothing nefarious happened here with the Mims situation. I mean, this is easy in my mind to connect the dots. Not everybody will agree. A lot of people want to be very, very angry, and some people are angry, and okay, that's fine. But I don't think that you can count your chickens anymore ever, which is going to make it hard for everybody who gets information from credible sources. And I mean, like, you're just gonna, because again, do you think, because I don't think it was this nefarious, that Travis Hunter knew a year in advance, 6 months in advance that he was going to do that?
I think weeks to months in advance. I think he did.
I think weeks is probably right. I'm leaning towards maybe over the course of that final month and a half.
That's long enough for me to be perturbed about that.
You can be perturbed, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think that this was baked into a long-term plan of.
No, it wasn't a troll job from like the summer.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think now this is, again, every situation will be unique. I don't think anything happened here, like, as I said, nefarious or even just per the modern way of recruiting or transfer portal activity. I don't think anything happened where he's gonna come here, which he intended to do, and then Georgia comes in and says, "Well, we'll give you some more money." I don't think that happened.
The question is, with a transfer, at what point? Is it like
it'll have to be when they enroll?
Yeah,
it's going to have to be when they enroll. I think that's the lesson here. You can't. It doesn't matter what they intend to do.
So does the university then? Let's just say the university, they get a call from the athletic department. Hey, we got Coach Norvell on the line. I need you to get enrollment paperwork ready for this player. Like, do they send them as though it's an NI or NLI agreement in December for our high school kid? Like, we want to make sure you're committed now. We don't need 11th hour stuff. We need you to sign enrollment paperwork. or can you not do that on
I
I
don't
don't know what the rules are.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
Do you have to
We're
wait
all about
until the semester starts, or there's an open period, or will there be an exception made, or is it just that you'll never have a piece of paperwork to sign as a transfer?
Even though I don't think this situation played out in a way that's underhanded or, again, I don't think that somebody like I would have what I was more worried about during this process. Okay. Once Ira's report came out, what I was more worried about is not what happened, but rather that he would go down to Miami or over to Florida or anywhere else, Clemson or name another school that sees the value in his services, obviously, 5-star tackle, and that no matter his relationship with Atkins, which is a good one, clearly, that he would get down there, and if, in fact, he's at a place where, even if it's temporary, money is no object, then all of a sudden guys are overpaying, attempting everything in their power to sway a kid, giving him a place on the water, giving him this to the point where it's overwhelming, where you're just like, well, I can't turn that down. I have to do that, right? That was my fear, was that no matter the relationship and what his intentions were, because I believe his intentions were to commit to and to enroll at Florida State. I believe his intentions are and were to play at Florida State, or were to play at Florida State, I should say. But obviously other things happen. And sadly, one of those things that I believe had an influence on his decision, I don't know this, but I believe it did, and it would make sense, is that tragic situation where an old high school teammate and friend died in a tragic car accident. And then that would affect you and you're in an emotional state, and that would not be the time to move at that point. Like maybe you would just want to be with the family, be around people that were also close with him. And then of course you've got Georgia in your ear trying to convince you to stay. So that all adds up to him deciding, in my estimation, I don't know this, my estimation is that, you know what, maybe I don't need to transfer. Maybe I have friends here. Maybe I'm wanted here more than I realized. Maybe now is not the time to leave. Okay. But other scenarios are going to play out where a kid will come and it will look good for us or whatever the school is that has them in. And then they're going to receive crazy offers, which means you're just really never going to feel good in saying that we know, short of a kid enrolling in school. That is the only time that you're going to be able to report it. I think that's how that's going to be from here forward.
Well, and even then too, with a transfer, it's all right because they have a one free pass rule. And so they couldn't do it a second time unless they completed their undergraduate education. And at that point, they're open, it's open season again. But even with a high school kid, they come in, early enrollee, spring, maybe they like it, maybe they don't. I mean, this is the future of it. This is the future of where it's going.
One of unease and frustration.
Yeah.
And Lord knows we're on that end of it right now.
Well, the fans are, yeah, but a coach's job is to be paranoid. And now, and sometimes, we'd say, quietly amongst ourselves, what are you paranoid about this for? Not anymore. I won't say anything like that anymore. Until there are regulations to help coaches to not be paranoid at all times. Please do.
Well, as long as it fuels your efforts to continue to stay on top of things in-house, right? Yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean, there's different levels of paranoia, and you don't want to be you don't want to appear insecure.
But I want it in your mind and in your organization, since we have redundancy upon redundancy in the organization, that if you've got a 3-star that required no benefits package other than the scholarship to come here,
right?
And
he's outshined that performance,
and he's climbed 2 people on the depth chart that did have a robust benefits package that only happened after they committed to Florida State and showed what they needed to show. That maybe there's a wheel that turns in your brain saying, "Oh, got to nip this in the bud. Make sure before we go to exit meetings that we have a benefits package ready for this 3-star player who is outperforming their ranking."
Yeah, you're right. It's a wild time. All right, good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. You guys have a wonderful evening. We will talk to you, or I should say afternoon. I'm so used to all the years of being on in the evening, but we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.